Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Happy Playoff Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Run It Back. This is absurd. I'm wearing my all black, obviously, in homage to the Spurs, but
this is my standard.
Welcome to Race for Sace, boys.
We wear black often, but this was just a coincidence.
I don't think it is. Hashtag. Live from Mongolia.
Oh, he's in black
it's
as well.
Boogie Cousins. Race for Sace black.
Boogie's in on it too?
He's in on it too. He knows what's up.
This is a default for me. So
Boogie, you know, me and you we wear black because we sweat all the time. And
Just don't tell everybody everything.
It doesn't seep as the pastels do.
No, it seeps. We see it. They don't. And it's perfect that way. Boogie, welcome. Where are we in the... Good Lord, sir. Where are we in your series?
Oh, man. Just know it's been long overdue. Still going, and I look forward to coming home, man.
When is the next game?
Yeah, well, where are we?
As of right now, it's Monday night here. We don't play again until Friday.
Wow.
Jeez. Do you want us to send an international like an envoy to go get you? Like, I feel like it's time for you.
Hey, by then I can sign a contract and be out there and help you a little bit by Friday.
By Friday?
Can you come home and go back?
Take a boat and be there by Friday.
I've thought about it, man, but remain professional through and see this thing out, man.
There you go.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're here, and it's perfect timing because we do have a lot of basketball to talk about. We finally got the playoffs. They're on. It's not some of the most competitive games, but we're going to start with Rockets-Lakers. No KD in this one. Lakers with a nice win, 107-98. LeBron James, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 13 assists. Luke Kennard was the man of the hour. 27 points, 5 of 5 from 3. Şengün finishes with 19. But the 13 assists, I believe 8 were in the first quarter, which is mind-blowing. But Derek Fisher said that LeBron is in his Magic Johnson era and that the Lakers could still win a title with him leading the way. That is a heck of a statement, Boogie. I mean, winning a title is one thing, deep playoff run maybe. What would you give him?
I agree with the second part as far as, him playing at this level, obviously with, 2 of the other main starters out. I think this is only a plus for the Lakers, especially with him having to carry the load as of right now. But to say he's in his Magic Johnson era, it's kind of a knock to LeBron. Nothing against Magic, but I take it as a knock to LeBron. This is a guy that's proven since he stepped foot in this league to be one of the greatest playmakers to ever touch the floor. So, and it's kind of funny because this was something that was kind of frowned upon early on in his career as being the guy that likes to make the right play, being the guy that gets everybody involved, making the guys around him better. And we fast forward to 20 years in the league, 20 plus years later in the league, and he's still doing that exact same thing. And it being something that, his playmaking being able to be something that controls an entire playoff game, even at this age in his career. So I think this is something that has been, kind of frowned upon. And now it's something that, people are looking at as a valuable asset. Which is mind-blowing to me. But this is something that he's done time and time again. This is part of his identity as a basketball player. I think that's why we can sit here and say this is one of the most complete basketball players that ever played this game. And I think he proved that once again the night against the Rockets. So, credit to Bron. And it's just incredible for him to be at this stage in his career and still be able to have an impact on the game. Not with it just being about scoring 30, 40 points, but, having 13 assists, 2 turnovers, and being a playmaker and controlling the entire playoff game. So credit to him.
Yeah, it's true that the media in his career has been critical over him almost being too passive at points and not wanting to, making the right play or wrong play at the end of a game, not being aggressive, trying to score points. But to me, the most impressive part is just how many different roles he can fill. Like, he can be the aggressive guy and go get you 30 points. He can play, small ball where he's the 5-man. He point forward, like Team USA kind of guard. Like last night, not last night, 2 nights ago, you could tell he was just trying to get everyone involved. He was trying to get guys going early, knowing that their 2 best scorers are out, and it worked. Like, you see, you can get Vanderbilt a wide open shot here, get him going.
It's a real tone setter.
Spoon-fed Rui and DeAndre Ayton, who had really, really good games, and obviously Luke Kennard was just fantastic shooting the basketball. But this is the version of him that they need, and it changes every single night, and he continues to play his role at a high, high level.
Would you say he's like a chameleon out there?
He is whatever they need him to be, he is.
I'm about to say, you can make that point, because if Austin Reeves and Luka's in this lineup, you're going to see a different version of Bron. You're not going to necessarily see him be as aggressive on the offensive end and getting people involved, because they wouldn't need him to get guys involved in being in the position that he is with those guys on the floor. So it was impressive just to see that. And also in a playoff game, like Houston got to take a stand, right? Like,
I mean,
they allowed them to do everything comfortable, and we'll get into that conversation as well. But you know, a guy having 8 assists in the first quarter, that sets the table for Rui to get involved. Now Luke Kennard can get some confidence. You got Aiden that was just in the right spots and was able to eat off of that as well. So it was just a great game. And like we said, the things that we criticized Bron for, now we give him the credit for it. But he was able to just make plays for everybody and set the table, and his game management is off the charts. Like, this is somebody that we've always seen in the postseason be able to manage games from quarter to quarter, from scenario to scenario. He just knows how to go out and do what needs to be done. Had the highest plus minus on his team at 41 years old. It was super impressive to see.
I think those 8 assists in the first quarter, if you were kind of half paying attention and you looked up at the screen, A, thought it was a typo, but B, it was just like, oh, so this is how we're going to do this. And if you're the Rockets, you have to be thinking, are you kidding me right now? But here's the thing, 41 years old, game 1 performance, not too shabby. What's more impressive, that, Lou, or that he gets to play in a playoff game with his kid?
Oh,
it's the performance. You know, obviously, every time that he and Bronny are on the floor together, it's going to be something to talk about. Like, that's super impressive. But it got to be the performance, right? We went into this series saying that without their two top guys, and that sounds crazy when we're talking about LeBron James and talking about 2 other guys being the top guys, but you know, we were going into this saying that Houston were the favorite. It was gonna be favored in their direction. And then obviously Kevin Durant goes out. Now that kind of evens the playing field for how this series is gonna go. But for him to get everybody involved, and we talk about the supporting cast being able to step up and be difference makers in this series come postseason, for him to get everybody involved to carry them through a game. Now in the second half, everybody confident is sky high. Like, look at Luke Kennard. Confidence is sky high because he's getting early looks. Rui can make you a big 3. Even Marcus Smart scored in double figures. Everybody was able to make big contributions based on the confidence that LeBron gave them by sharing a basketball and getting them involved early.
Yeah, it's the performance by Mars, it's not even close.
Oh, I had to
again,
ask. Wow.
Start that.
That was the loudest
been
one
on
yet.
Zoom. It's the performance. And again, we talk about this every single night. He continues to get better. And early in the season, remember, he was like their best defender. He was diving on the floor. So he was gone from like the hustle guy from the best player to the third option to the point forward to the power forward to the center. Like, this guy has played every single role for this team, and he's overexceeded all expectations. And now they got a great 1-0 lead against a team who they were underdogs against. And obviously, Kevin Durant goes down. We didn't expect that to happen.
No,
but
we didn't.
He's missing 2 of his best players as well. So I don't want that to be the story, that's why they won. Like, LeBron is at more of a deficit without Reeves and Luka than the Rockets are without Kevin Durant. So obviously that changed the trajectory of the game. But it shouldn't, because the Lakers are missing 2 best players. They're missing 1. So, like, if we want to play that game, the Lakers are missing more. But it's just truly unbelievable what he did. And again, game 2 could be a different, complete situation than when game 1, and we can see him go off for 40 and have no assists. Like, that's just how good and how capable LeBron James is still at this point of his career.
The KD thing, Boogie, was so. I had friends on their way to crypto that were about to drop many, many dollars on. And as soon as the KD news dropped, they're like, not even worth it. So let's talk Rockets, shall we? Because on that side of things, Charles Barkley said that the Rockets were awful to watch, and Kenny Smith said they did not follow the game plan. Did Ime get out-coached by JJ? Like, what happened here?
I don't even think this is an Ime issue. I still blame it on it being a roster issue. And at this point, I believe Kevin Durant deserves even more credit than he's received this season. I think his talent, his experience, and just his overall play this season has covered up a lot of their shortcomings. And we talk about a guy like LeBron being able to control a playoff game with his playmaking ability. Just imagine if this Rockets team had an actual playmaker on the floor. We've been talking about it all year. They need a point guard, and obviously with their best player, Kevin Durant, being out, it's going to look even more awful. I don't think the guys on this roster are complementary pieces to Kevin Durant and what this Rockets team needs as far as winning right now. Now, obviously, things can change down the line, but as of right now, it's not a complete roster to me. And with Kevin Durant being out, it just made that glaring hole even bigger as far as, their shortcomings this season. So I agree with Charles. It wasn't a great showing. I don't think this is a coaching situation. Like I said, I think this is more about the roster build out, and it's not a complete or complementary roster for the guys that are on this squad.
Yeah. Well, two things can be true. I agree with Boogie. The roster is the roster, right? And we've talked about the issues they've had all year. But, from Houston's standpoint, they just didn't take anything away. I think they kind of took their foot off the gas when you know you're going into a series without Austin Reeves and Luka. They just probably felt like they can beat this team. They tried to outscore them. They had 27 more field goal attempts. They had 21 offensive rebounds. Everything that they were doing was predicated on the offensive end of the floor. Defensively, they allowed everybody to be too comfortable. Everybody, with the exception of Bronny, that stepped on the floor, scored and had production. Like, you allowed 9 guys to score the basketball. Like, what are you taking away? You're not taking away anything. That was a great opportunity for you to make this game difficult for LeBron James. Instead, you allowed him to be a playmaker, and you allowed everybody to get their confidence by allowing LeBron to be a playmaker. That got to come from the top. You got to make this Lakers team uncomfortable. I didn't see that happen at all. So Boogie saying it's the roster. I think that's half of it. The other half of it is they didn't implement anything to make the Lakers uncomfortable at all in this game.
Yeah, and just offensively, I think Sengun, he's got to be better. Having 19 field goal attempts, scoring 19 points, that's not efficient enough. And again, like Boogie said, the roster, it is what it is. Like, obviously, they would be much better with Fred VanVleet in the lineup. They got guys playing a little bit out of position with Thompson starting at point guard early. Then they got Reed Shepherd in there. And again, the offense is what it is, but I do think the shock of Kevin Durant maybe going out right before the game.
That seemed like shocking.
Could have thrown him off a little bit. But this is interesting. Like, the Rockets scored just 98 points, having 27 more field goal attempts than the Lakers. Like, that's hard to do.
That's bad math.
That's a crazy stat. So, like, they're getting shots at the basket that were just inefficient, and they got to be better. And if Kevin Durant doesn't play game 2, then you got to play through Sengun more. You got to get out. I'd play faster. They have so many long, athletic guys. Like, play faster and get out in transition.
Well, they play tomorrow. They better figure something out.
Which is good it's good that they had the time off with Kevin Durant, but it's also good for the Lakers because they're getting everyone's like, oh yeah, it's great for the Rockets. Kevin Durant, it's good for Luka and Reeves too.
Exactly.
It felt like we got ripped off a little bit. We're just very excited.
Also, do you think Kevin Durant is like not playing? Obviously, because it's hurt. They were saying he can't straighten his leg fully. Is it because of all the other major injuries that have happened, guys playing through?
What do you mean?
Like, is it a concern about this getting worse and like being like detrimental? Because I feel like he looked good.
Well, we know
the video I saw.
We know Kevin Durant. If he's available, he's going to play.
He only missed 4 games this year, which made it even more shocking. So it has to be like
it has to be something that's really bothersome because if he can play it, he can lace up, especially in a playoff run. He's going to play.
I mean, he's over there seething during this game.
Oh, for sure. So I would listen.
Does he play game 2?
Absolutely.
You think so?
Absolutely. If he can.
Did you watch his
if
warm
he
up?
can, absolutely.
Normal.
Especially with them being down 0-1 now.
Kevin, you must.
You can't go down 0-2 and try to get in there. So.
Okay.
Kevin Durant ain't the type of guy to sit for a hangnail. So
that's what I'm saying. And he only missed 4 games. It's got to be bad.
He can play.
Yeah, he's not doing it. He's not. Rockets are favorites? Is that what just got said in my ear? Wow, okay. Well,
they're favored.
4.5 points. We shall see. Let's get to some Magic Pistons. Chandler? Maybe.
Don't look now.
I mean, I got people telling me Chandler was right. Yeah, they upset Detroit. Took game 1, 112-101. It's like we are being bamboozled by Orlando, though, this time around. Bankero with 23, 9 rebounds. Didn't have anything in the fourth, but who cares? Didn't need it. Franz Wagner, 19, 11 in the fourth.
Franz.
Kate Cunningham. It's playoff career high for him, 39. He was 13-27. That is 11 straight home games dropped in the playoffs by Detroit. That goes back to 2008, which is just a crazy little stat. But Wednesday of last week, we thought this Magic team was hot garbage.
Well, by the way, the Wednesday last week, they were.
Right, but what could possibly have happened?
No, it didn't rip with the Magic last Wednesday.
Then tell me, then take me through this.
Because look, this is a team that has gone through a roller coaster of injuries and situations this year, which I don't think anyone saw. And this is a team before the season started that we all thought were going to be a home court advantage type team, a top 4 team. Jamal and Mosley, you know they're going to be well coached. They're going to be defensive minded. And I think we just feel like the fit maybe or the system or the style of play with Paolo and Franz maybe didn't really mesh well, and Jalen Suggs being out of the lineup and them kind of trying to find all these different guys from off the bench. Anthony Black's had a great year, but this version of the team is what I expected all year long. They can take away what you do better, what you do great. Paolo he was more efficient at least. He's 8 of 15. That is the version of him where he's getting to the basket, he's getting to the free throw line, he's playing bully ball and picking his spots, and he didn't look hesitant like he did in that play-in game. And by the way, I don't think we talked about it, but then they also looked much better against Charlotte in that winner-go-home game.
Yeah, that was a blowout. You're right.
So listen, this is the version of what we thought. And then Detroit on the flip side, this is a team that we didn't know whether they're going to be better in the playoffs because we could slow down, they're going to be physical, or is it going to be worse because they don't have that number 2 option outside of Cade Cunningham. And that's exactly what it looked like in game 1 of this. Let Cade Cunningham get 40, no one else can do anything. And that's exactly what happened.
They did.
So the Jalen Duren's got to be better, Jenkins got to be better, Tobias has to be better because it can't just be the Cade Cunningham show. This is going to be a really long, tough series for the Pistons.
That was ugly, Boogie. It was. It's not what Detroit was looking for, and for everyone who was sort of doubting them and thinking, well, the experience is going to be a problem. That was a bad first game, right?
Well, shout out to Orlando for a great showing, but I look at this loss as more of a Detroit lost this game compared to Orlando winning. I do think it'll be a better showing from the role guys around. I think Tobias will have a better shooting night, along with Jenkins. And I also think we'll see a more aggressive Jalen Duren in the next game. So I look at this as more of them, not handling business. It could be, first game jitters, whatever the case may be. But I do expect a better performance from this Pistons team. Obviously, defense, being a more of a defensive-minded team, I think defense will be on full display with game 2. But like I said, everybody I mentioned before, I think it'll be a better showing. And I think more so having a more aggressive Jalen Duren changes the whole outlook for this team. I do agree, moving forward with this team wanting to improve and having championship aspirations, I still think they need that second go-to guy, that automatic second go-to guy. Yep. Not a random guy that shows up on a random night.
There you go.
That 20-point per game score that is an automatic every single night. So moving forward, I do still feel that's a thing, but I expect a better performance overall from this Pistons group.
I'm with Boogie on that one. We've talked about this all year about Detroit. We love their style of play. We love how they're built. But who's going to be that secondary guy? Is it going to be Tobias Harris? Is it going to be Jalen Duren? Is it going to be Duncan Robinson? The problem is we're still asking that question, and the playoffs have started. The postseason has started, and Jalen Duren, just 4 attempts is not going to get it done for this team. Now, he's not a natural scorer, like Boogie just said, an automatic guy that you can put the basketball in his hands. He's going to go out and get you 20, 25 points on a given night, but he got to match up with Wendell Carter Jr. better. Carter Jr. he was 8 for 9 from the field, and on the defensive end, Jalen Duren and the bigs, they allowed 54-point paints. That's where the game come down to me. They just didn't have a stand. They didn't have that identity that we're used to them having, and they got to have somebody to be able to score the basketball. If a team just tells Cade Cunningham, you go out and you do whatever you want, but we're going to take away the rest of these guys and we'll live with the results from that, that looks like that was the game plan for the Orlando Magic, to allow Cade to do his thing. As long as he doesn't get other guys involved, you can score whatever you want. And just the aggression wasn't there for Jalen Duren. Obviously, it was in Orlando's game plan to take some of his opportunities away and make the game a little difficult for him, where he can be effective on the offensive end. There has to be something that they address for the next game.
Yeah, and I think it was a bit surprising just because that number 8 versus the number 1, but it shouldn't be that surprising because, again, this is a team that we thought was going to be good. It's not like a real 8
right.
seed.
I was about to say, they weren't even supposed to be an 8 to begin with.
This is, I don't want to say a tough matchup because, again, as soon as Detroit goes and wins game 2 and the series is even up, the momentum shifts back to Detroit. Now the pressure's on Orlando to not lose game 3 at home. So again, we're such a what have we done for lately league, and right now this was a shock to some, but like the Pistons can just go back and get the momentum again in game 2, fix some things, clean some up. I'd like to see Jalen Duren be more aggressive, but again, he's not that guy that you're just going to feed and go get a bucket type
Apparently
of 2
not,
option.
no.
He's an animal, he's a man-child, he's on the glass, he's a lob threat, but it's not like you're going to feed him the ball more. 4 shots still, though, just throughout the game, he should get more attempts than 4 shots. Whether that, he should get 4 putbacks, like that's not enough.
They also got to get that weird home court curse off. Like, that's 11 straight at home in the playoffs. Get rid of that.
That's a crazy stat.
The game of the night. Let's talk about it.
Was it
The Rays, 4 saves. I love
Look at that
court.
crowd. I love you, San Antonio. It's Wemby's playoff debut, and it was a good one. 111-98 win for San Antonio. He had 35, 5 assists, 3. That's not right, is it? 5 rebounds, 2 blocks. De'Aaron Fox had 17. Avdia had 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. But the Spurs did, as a team, shoot 45% from the 3. First playoff win since 2019. First points for Wemby in the playoffs. Like, there's a lot of firsts last night. He actually even broke Tim Duncan's playoff first points, playoff paint, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say.
What was that?
I can't even do it. I just was very excited to finally get to this game. That being said, Boogie, can you believe he was how many from 3, Wemby? Like, that's not even fair to say that a dude that's 7'5" is
6.
also doing that.
5 or 6.
Wemby's special. The Spurs group is special. I actually think this would be a sweep. It'll be over rather quickly. I do feel like this, considering everything this Portland group has went through this season, I believe they overachieved this year. So, regardless if they're swept or it's a gentleman's sweep, I think this is a positive for them moving forward. They're learning about their young group.
Boogie, ain't nothing positive about no sweep. I know what you're trying to do, but ain't nothing positive about no sweep.
It's a positive for Portland. You learn who your young guys are.
I agree with you. Now, they got some overachieve in them, but it ain't no positive if they get swept.
Well, I'm trying to be positive.
I like that.
With all that being said, this is a great showing from Scoot Henderson. Obviously, you want to continue to build his confidence in this league. I think this was a great confidence booster for him. He had a rather decent performance. So I looked at this more as a positive for Portland just moving forward, even being in this situation. But this Spurs team is just light years ahead of them. They're a team built for contending as of right now, even though they're a very young group. De'Aaron Fox, with his performance, just everything with this group is built for right now. So I'm not surprised at all. We spoke on this Spurs group all year. We know how talented they are. They beat some of the top teams in the league all year. This is their moment. We're going to see what happens moving forward. But as far as this series, I'm thinking sweep.
People watching, it's like 82% say sweep too. I'm not saying that because I'm not jinxing.
Yeah, I don't know about a sweep again. Maybe it goes to 5. Like, does it really matter?
Gentleman's sweep.
Gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, they're winning the series. But what's crazy to me is just the growth that they've had from the beginning of the season. We knew that they were young, right? We knew the potential was there, the future is bright. Kind of compared them to OKC just because they're foundational pieces and what they have and how deep they were. And then, like, in the middle of the season, something just clicked. We were like, okay, this team is growing and getting much better to, holy shit, like, they can win it all.
Ruh-roh.
Like, it just happened out of nowhere, and everyone plays their role so perfectly. If someone's out, it's next man up. They're obviously anchored on the defensive end by Wemby, but then, like, Castle's a dog as a guard picking up 94 feet. They have great role players. They have a great bench. They have great coach. Like, they have it all, and it's just happened so quickly. And there was a play last night that we didn't have on the highlight for some reason. Wemby got, when there was like 10 seconds on the shot clock, remember he just dribbled to the corner of the 3-point line and just hit a shot at fadeaway just like for fun with 10. I thought the shot clock was going out. It was ridiculous to see him do that. And again, you think first time playoff, first game, he didn't miss a beat. He thrived in the biggest moment of his career. And again, this is why we're going to continue to talk about him as becoming one of the greats, because we're going to see him do it in the postseason in April, May, June, July. Like that, we're going to see him do it when it really matters. Probably not July, June, but
July would be weird.
This was awesome, and this team is super impressive.
I felt like that was the first time I saw Wemby really play last night.
Interesting.
Like, the emotion was there. The stage wasn't too big for him. It looked like, to me, this was the moment that he's been waiting for. And you usually get that kind of energy from veteran guys. You get that from guys that's been in deep playoff runs where they hate the regular season and they're ready to get to some real basketball. that was the vibe that I got from Wemby last night. Like, if you look at the stats, all of these guys, they scored, but they weren't efficient. Like, San Antonio didn't play their best basketball as far as the other guys go, and they still look really great. Like, it didn't matter whether they were scoring the basketball efficiently enough. They're so good on the defensive end, and Wemby is so good at anchoring them on the defensive end that they just stop you from scoring. If we're not going to score and we're not going to be efficient, we're just not going to let you put points on the board. So to see his impact on the defensive end and see it on the offensive end, it was incredible to watch. Like, we're running out of positive things to say about him, but he knocked a new wall down last night from expectation level from him. So, gentleman sweep, that's us being kind to Portland. I'll say I think it'll be a sweep. And I hate to say that with any team that got Drew Holiday on it because he's the ultimate competitor, and I got a high level of respect for Drew. I just think these guys are outgunned and outmatched against San Antonio.
And think about it, like Scoot had 18 and Denny had 30, 10, and 5, and they still had no chance of winning this game. They played pretty good.
I think my favorite thing was, I believe it was Ramona Shelburne asking Wemby afterwards, like, if having, and by the way, we're going to get to the T-shirts in a second, but having like Duncan and Robinson, Pop was there, Manu was there, if having like those guys in the building adds an extra weight, and he was like, no, not a weight at all. It actually feels safe. And I was like, they're in a very like conducive environment to just
I love
be.
it, bro.
It's safe.
Yeah, someone
it.
scoring
Yeah.
35 points, he said it's not that much.
That's culture. But listen, that's culture, and you got to give San Antonio the props. Like, we've always talked about the culture that they've built for their community and for their organization. For him to say that it feels safe, a lot of guys will look in that crowd and you see some of your icons that come before you, and that you might feel pressure.
Right.
Like, I gotta level up to what those guys have been able to accomplish. Instead, he feels right at home. That goes to the credit of Pop. That goes to their front office. They went out and got the right guy for the job to build a new dynasty around. But they got to get it. They got to get it done. But last night, game one for 16. That was a great showing for them.
Yeah, that's different. Seeing two of the greatest Spurs of all time, that calms your nerves.
Yeah, because you know why? Because they're there. They're always there.
All these legends.
They're
that
at every
makes me
game.
At peace.
I will say
that's
this.
Different.
Please show Tim Duncan and David Robinson in the Fiesta shirts, because they were bullying like regular folks on the Jumbotron. If they didn't have their shirt on, they were showing them on the Jumbotron and then bullying them to put their T-shirts on.
I love it.
But when you have two Hall of Famers that are sitting courtside wearing the shirts,
It's awesome.
I'm sorry.
Everyone's just bought in.
It's kind of amazing.
It's this, and again, we go back to years ago with the culture and Pop. Like, think about it. You would think there'd be some animosity even, or jealousy,
Not
or
even a little.
like judgment. Like, there's not. It's just like it's truly like a family-driven organization. No egos, like no job too small. Like, it's when Wemby went there, everyone was like, "Oh, this is rigged." Like, of course he went there. Like, it made too much sense.
Where would you like him to go? There's nowhere else for him to have gone. This was it.
I still think he would have been great if he went 29 other teams, but like this is just a perfect fit, and this is a perfect match. And this organization is top notch.
No, he would have gone to some teams and they would have crushed him, and it would have been awful. This is how.
You think he's only good on the Spurs?
No, I think he's just perfect on the Spurs. It's different. We're gonna take a quick break. More games to get to, including one at the Garden. We'll get to Atlanta, New York next.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.
Do some Hawks and some Knicks. A New York win, 113-102. Jalen Brunson, especially to get this thing started, was absolutely out of his mind. He did finish with 28, 9 of 22, 7 assists. Cat with 25. CJ McCollum had 26, and Jalen Johnson with 23 and 7 rebounds. Cat had 19 of his 25 in the second half, because for the first half, it's kind of weird how they do this, Boogie. It's like Jalen will take care of the first half, and then we need Cat to go ahead and come through on the second. But if we get this version of Cat, whether it's only in the second half or not, how good can the Knicks be?
I mean, that first part you said, that's exactly what I want from my star duo. And vice versa, whatever the case may be, if it's Cat in the first half, Brunson closing, or vice versa, that's exactly what you need from that duo. But like you said, with this version of Cat, they're a very, very tough team to beat. And not even just Cat, just, the full starting five. I think it was a great showing from everybody. Everybody played their part. Everybody was pretty much efficient, maybe outside of Brunson, but he still made some very, very huge plays throughout the game. But this version of the Knicks in general is going to be a tough team to beat. So, when they're clicking on all cylinders like this, when they're, efficient, when they're consistent in their play every single night, they're a very tough team to beat. But I also look at the Hawks side of things, and I don't think they had the most efficient night. You think about a guy like Alexander Walker, I think he has a better showing in the next game. And as far as both benches on both sides, it wasn't the most productive night on either side. So I think this Knicks team is tough to beat, but I also think the Hawks will have a better showing, and it'll be a pretty close series in my opinion. This defensive-minded Hawks team isn't just a pushover. They showed that throughout the year. They've showed that they're a very defensive-minded team, very versatile team. So, as to the Knicks as of right now, credit to them, but I think this series is a little tighter than we've been shown as of right now.
Yeah, you know what I liked about Cat is just his energy. He had juice. He was talking. He was electric. Like the way he was reacting towards the crowd, the fans. Like you could tell this was just he picked up his energy a notch in the playoffs. That's exactly what you want to see. Like sometimes he gets kind of caught floating and he's just there. It wasn't him. Like even the little celebration, the and one where he's pointing at the players. Like that is the type of Cat, that's the type of motor that we need to see because it's contagious to everybody. It helps him on every aspect of his game. We know how talented he is. We know how well he can shoot the ball, how good of a scorer he can be. When he plays like that, he just naturally plays harder, and I think he makes his team so much better. We know how good Jalen Brunson's going to be. We know it's going to be a heavy dose of him with the ball, high pick and roll, and let him kind of dissect the defense. But when Cat is on this level and he's dominant like this and he's playing with that type of force and energy, that is the best version of the New York Knicks.
I like that version.
And their bench is so much better this year now, and the Hawks bench got destroyed.
Oh, they got
You see,
destroyed.
the number one, Ricochet, would play 2 minutes, and again gets taken out of the game, doesn't get put back in.
0 for 3 in
He's
2
getting
minutes.
roasted all over social media. Their bench has 13 total points. Like the Knicks, now we're talking about a more complete Knicks team where their bench is better than the opponent's bench, and that's a huge factor for them.
Crazy talk,
I
considering.
like the emotion from Cat. I think
That's
an
it,
emotion
yeah.
is great for the Knicks, man. Like just showing that type of emotion, showing that type of care, like you said, it is contagious for the rest of the team. But it's not always a vocal leader. Sometimes leadership is just shown through your actions. And I think the way he played, that was a great form of leadership as far as his showing and for the rest of the team.
It's also specific to Cat because I think one of the big knocks on him is that he seems to sort of check out of games at times. So seeing him that way, especially to finish off a game, is probably good if you're a Knicks fan. But Lou, Atlanta, I want to talk about a little bit here because they made it a little bit. They were down by 19 at one point, but they made it a little. They made a little comeback, a little pride on the line. Is there something there that you're seeing that gives us hope that this will be a competitive series, just like Boogie said?
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. They allowed New York to get too comfortable. And like we're talking about the great game that Cat had, that's somebody you got to take away. Like you allowed their duo, as Boogie put it, you allowed those guys to be stars, and if you're going to allow them to be stars on their home court, they're probably going to beat you. Like nothing jumps out at me. Atlanta still had 25 assists as a team, only 12 turnovers as a team, but they got outplayed by their star power, and that was one of the only things. Other than that, I feel like it'll be a better game it'll be a better series moving forward. Neither one of the benches made significant differences in each other, so it came down to Cat having 25, being able to play the way that he played, and Brunson having 28. Not his most efficient night, but he was aggressive. He was aggressive, constantly pushing the action, and Atlanta just didn't do anything about it. They tried to outscore New York, and it just wasn't a recipe for them. They've got to figure out going into game 2 which one of these guys is going to have a big night, and we got to make it difficult for somebody else and don't allow OG and those other guys to chip in 15 to 20 points as well. Other than that, I think they'll be okay. But this was more about New York than it was for Atlanta to me. New York went out and took care of business.
The series, it's far from over. Like
Well, it literally is. You're right.
It is far from
I think it's
over.
going to be a really good series, actually.
I think so.
I think Atlanta settles in.
I mean, you guys called sweep in the last one, so I feel good about you saying this will be a long series.
Yeah.
This makes me.
We took Atlanta in 6.
I'm standing on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Again,
I'm not
there were some
jumping
highs
off
and
the boat
lows of
after
this
one
game,
game.
but again, this is going to be a
By the
competitive.
way, did you hear from folks after game 1, or did you just didn't look?
No.
Good, smart, don't look.
But it was probably more Chandler than me because people understood why I took it.
Yeah, makes
I'm a homer, but I also
was a hater.
said Jalen Brunson is going to be the
You
best.
are
Yeah, right. But I also said Jalen Brunson was going to be the best player
That's
in
true.
this series. And last night, he had more points, but I felt like Cat was the best player in this series. And because of that, if Cat is going to be the guy that's going to lead you and be your emotional leader, it's going to be tough for Atlanta. So they're going to have to make somebody uncomfortable.
There was some physicality in this one, a little spice, especially towards, Hawks towards Knicks. Specifically, I want to get to the C.J. McCollum moment with Jalen Brunson. Goes up for a jumper. C.J.'s foot finds him in a place that no man should ever be found, was called for a tech. But afterwards, this is what made me laugh. CJ afterwards was like, yeah, it was a normal situation, and I think Jalen thought he was on Broadway. I think that is some good spice.
It looked normal to me.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything.
Yeah, it looked normal to me, but I like a little playoff fire.
Me too.
Now that the gloves are off and everything is bulletin board material, I like this. It looked like a regular jump shot, and
I'm sorry, are we calling it the midsection? That's what we're calling it?
We can call it a myriad of things, but it looked like a regular jump shot to me. But this is playoff basketball. Everything is gonna be everything is gonna be magnified. I don't think a technical foul should have been called, but. No big deal here.
Well, he said he's going to get his money back.
But listen, now
he's going to get his $2,500 back.
But this is what makes it fun, right? And then was the cat elbow by Kuminga.
Yeah.
This is playoff basketball again, and I don't think the tech is necessary either. I think this is part of the game, and we expect the physicality to take it next level.
I mean, Brunson stayed on the ground for a while.
But then when it does, do you tee him up? This is game one. If this series goes long, there's going to be some high tension.
Oh, I like tension, Boogie. We like tension, Boogie.
Yeah, it was a lot of accidents happening out there.
Play on.
Accidents.
I'm not looking into this as a spicy series. Yeah, it was some slick comments here and there. Great quote from CJ, but I looked at this as accidental acts. Neither team, that's not really their identity as far as being a spicy team or a physical team or even a team that gets really chippy. So. Like I said, I look at it as accidental, but regardless of all that, I think this will be a very competitive series.
I hope that this series brings out the spice in Atlanta. I'm okay with them discovering themselves during the course of this bad boy. We're going to take a quick break. More basketball on the other side.
You know how there's usually a good night and a bad night?
T-Wolves in Denver. Denver with a win in this one. 116-105. 105 is your final. Jamal Murray finishes with 30. He was 7 of 22, had 7 assists. Jokic, 25, 13, and 11. Yep, 22nd career playoff triple-double for him. Anthony Edwards, 22 points, 7 of 19, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and Rudy Gobert with 17 and 10. They were down by 15 in the third at one point, Minnesota was. They did cut this bad boy to a 2-point game and then, of course, end up losing by the double digits. Chandler, I'm going to start with you this time. Is this more about Minnesota missing something or more about Denver just knowing what they're doing?
Well, Minnesota's definitely missed something. That's a fully healthy Anthony Edwards. This is a guy that's had the same injury as Steph Curry, and I don't want to compare injuries or timelines to people, but Steph Curry missed 27 games with the same exact injury. And obviously there's levels to it, but so I have respect for Anthony Edwards trying to play through, trying to battle. It is the playoffs. You can just tell he's not himself. He's missing that burst. He's missing that extra step that he usually has. And again, and he's just not the same. So now we're looking at, can Jaden McDaniels be great? Can Julius Randle be great? How are they going to find ways to kind of pick up that production for him and they get stops and still find a way to capitalize? I'm looking at this. Denver was 1 for 17 from 3 in the second half and still find ways to games, which means that Minnesota is not getting those rebounds and pushing the break and capitalizing on those missed jumpers. So again, I wish Anthony Edwards health and I hope he gets better because this was one of the series that I was most excited about.
Same.
But he just doesn't look right to me.
Which is a bit of a bummer, Boogie, because he is one of the stars of the show.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if Anthony Edwards is 100% healthy, it's not a great chance of this, Timberwolves team being able to compete with a group like Denver. And obviously, they have their history in the playoffs of, battles, and it's gone both ways throughout history. But the guy that leads this charge for the Timberwolves is obviously AE. So him being at 50, 60, 70% isn't great for this group in the midst of the playoffs. Now, obviously, that's something you can kind of get away with in regular season, but with the playoffs being at the highest intensity of basketball, we need him at 100% for this group to be able to flourish. And, despite all of that, it was still a rather decent showing from the guys around him. Rudy had a big night. Julius didn't have the greatest night, but it's still rather decent night. So you just have to go to think, like, if AE can have just a half or a 50% shooting night, I think they have a good chance at winning. So, and obviously this isn't, some walk in the park when you think about this Nuggets group. This is a championship group. They have championship experience. They have one of the best players in basketball in Jokic. So when you think about the Timberwolves, they need everybody clicking and everybody at 100% to have a chance at beating this Nuggets group.
There's a stat, Jamal Murray shot 8 threes, made 0, but he was 16 of 16 from free throw line.
Yes.
Chris Finch called it a head scratcher.
Chris Finch hates when other teams use
He hates free throws so much when the other team shoots.
No, I love you, but stop.
Well, look, in fairness, a guy like Jamal Murray averages like 5 attempts normally. So 16 is a big number, Lou. Doesn't necessarily mean anything's egregious here, but
I'm a free throw guy. I like it. I'm sorry. I like it. This is my world. To me, this is Jamal Murray finding a way to put points on the board and having a positive production. Like, I'm 0 for 8 from the three-point line. Instead of settling, constantly shooting, I'm gonna find other ways to put points on the board. That's being aggressive, getting to the rim, attacking, putting defenders in a position where they got to put me on the free throw line and to make the free throw. 16 for 16 from the free throw line, having the highest plus minus on his team. Like, not his most efficient night, but he found other ways to be impactful. 7 assists. That's not something we usually say about Jamal Murray. So it was an unorthodox game. It was a little weird. It was off, with him shooting poorly from 3, but being able to find that at the free throw line, or being able to find that by getting other guys involved and still being able to put points on the board. So Chris Finch may hate it. I love it. Oh, yeah. That's somebody that my responsibility as on a team was to put points on the board. Jamal Murray, the same thing. My job is to score for this basketball team. I got to find different ways to do it. And he was able to do it outside of the three-point line. So by looking at it, you don't think it was a great game. You know what I mean? By
Sure.
7 for 22 from the field, 0 for 8 from the 3. But again, 16 free throws, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, and still being able to go get 30 out of that, I'll take it anytime.
Yeah, like, to me, this is just growth as like a scorer. And in the playoffs, when it's slower and it's more physical, finding ways to put points on the board. When the shot's not falling from the three-pointer, how can you get to the line? How can you make the game easier for you? How can you see a ball go in? And you go 16 of 16 is a great way to kind of more than half his points from the free throw lines. Like, I have respect for that. Obviously, I don't just want to sit here and watch guys shoot free throws all the time, but this has become such a part of the game, which it's funny to me that Finch keeps getting so frustrated by it. But, like, everyone does it. Like, it's just something you have to, like, deal with or cope with and, like, find out ways to defend without fouling.
I was going to say, at some point, you got to hold your team accountable for hacking.
I'm sorry, get your hand
You
out
got to
of
hold your
jar.
team accountable for hacking. Like, y'all put him on the line 16 times.
And it wasn't even egregious. It was just like
I just think of Chris Finch, like, at what number free throw does he start to go, how many does he have? Like, he starts getting like a tick and he's angry and he's asking his guys because he hates them.
I bet you if Ant had 20 next game, he won't say a word.
Maybe he will. By the way, there was a third quarter moment we should probably look at. Friend of the show, Jaden McDaniels, little pushy shove on the man, the myth, the legend. Oh, no.
Okay. What was that about?
Oh, no. Yo, aren't his brothers in the house? I wouldn't.
Did he let his intrusive thought win?
Why did you do
What happened there, y'all?
Or you know what? I'm just going to set it off. Hey, Boogie, that looked like Jaden just decided, I'm just going to set it off.
Boogie.
Because listen, everybody.
Boogie, why do you do it? I need to know
tell us what's wrong.
Tell us what happened here,
tell us,
Boogie.
Boogie, what happened?
Hey, man, I'm a huge fan of Jay McDaniels. I got the pleasure of meeting this kid when he was first coming into the league. We worked out in the summer. I mean, this is who he is. He's standing on business. He's not afraid.
He made the shot.
He's 10 toes in whatever moment he's in. So as far as it being a regret, I don't think he'll ever say those words that he regrets. But, moving forward, if this makes Jokic take his game to a whole other level, then obviously it's like, why did I even poke the bear? But as far as him being who he is, this is what I expect from him. He's a competitor on the floor. He's fearless. I mean, he'll fight 10 bears if he has to. He's earned my respect as that type of competitor. But obviously you don't want to poke this bear in Jokic and make his game go to a whole nother
They gave
level.
us credit for him being on our show. They said they've never seen him smile and laugh as much. So we cracked the code a little bit.
Feels like we made him mad.
Looked like he was right back in mode.
That was spicy. That's going to be my word for every single one of these moments. We're going to take a quick break and wrap things up on the other side.
Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back.
Okay, we're going to talk a little Raptors, a little Cavs. That was a win for the Cavs, but I specifically want to get to Brandon Ingram after this bad boy, because he basically threw his coach on the bus, saying fudge. He said that his coach wanted to use him as a screener, and that him shooting 9 shots isn't going to win basketball games, Lou. That was right after game 1 of the playoffs. What do you think?
You don't love it, but at the same time, you want your star player to be kind of disappointed in only getting 9 shots. Now, some of that responsibility is BI's. He got to go out there and be aggressive. But if your coach is putting you in a position where you're not playing the type of game that's needed for y'all to have an opportunity to win a basketball game, and let alone a playoff series, it's kind of okay. I would have preferred that this message was behind the curtain and not out in the public. And sometimes your emotions are running high and you have an expectation level for yourself. But I like the mindset. We're not going to win basketball games with me shooting 9 shots, and he's right. But he has to be more aggressive. His coach has to put him in a better position. But like I said, I would have preferred that conversation be had in private opposed to being out in public.
The message isn't wrong at all. He's a guy. He's our best scorer. Him and Scotty, like, he's had a great season. Don't say this in the media after game 1. It's just very premature. It's very bad optics-wise after you get a loss when the series just started. And he's not wrong. Even Darko says after the game, look, we need to involve him more, and we're gonna prep to do so. So they both took accountability. But like Lou said, this is like, go to his office, like after the game, or go to the hotel room, the bus, whatever. Like have that conversation in private. And if it doesn't change, then maybe whatever, voice your opinion and get it out there, whatever you want. But like, this just seems early.
You just don't want to show weakness after one game.
You don't want to
show that you're not.
You should be united.
I'm Cleveland. We got them right where we want them.
Yeah, Boogie. Do you think this gonna be an issue? Like, it appears as if they're not united.
I mean, if I'm Cleveland, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Like you said, it's too early. The message isn't wrong, but obviously you would rather have done it, behind closed doors. But, what's baffling to me is if B.I. isn't getting the ball or getting the shots or isn't in the game plan, who the hell is? Like, as far as being
those
a
three
scorer on the Raptors.
It's rough.
That's the part that's confusing for me. When I think about the Raptors roster, like, they have some talent. You think about guys like Barnes and R.J. Barrett and Quickly, but when I look at that roster, when I think about their best scorer, it's automatically Brandon Ingram. So that part is confusing to me, and it's also an issue because why is this even a message this late in the season? Why is this a conversation? Like, this should be an automatic thing. So the message isn't wrong. Yeah, we could change, how it was delivered, but the fact that the coach is even agreeing lets you know that the message is correct. So I'm more confused on who the hell is getting the shots.
Barrett took 13, Barnes took 14, and Jamal Shed took 11. So Jamal Shed took more shots than Brandon Ingram was probably a problem.
Probably not going to happen in game 2,
probably why they lost.
I guess.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick, Donovan Mitchell passed LeBron James on the all-time scoring list in playoffs. Did everybody know that? That's like an interesting little stat.
Fast?
Yeah.
That is right. That's
points per game playoffs.
That's crazy.
I know. I thought so too. I thought it was congrats to him, but you got to turn that into hardware though.
I would have argued you up and down about that stat.
Damn it! I should have brought it out like that then.
Special player.
I like it. Most points per game. Okay, I think we blew their minds.
Is this a sweep?
Awesome.
No.
Really?
Boogie, love you. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Good luck, Boogie, to your game next month.
Next month.
Run it back, yeah.